before I even knew anything about the eagle or its biblical concepts of the eagle. My choice at that time was the eagle. And once I explained why, which I can't even tell you what I said in specific, the people in the room applauded and they said, you're going to be a great philosopher one day. And I didn't really know what that entailed, and I'm not saying that I am. But I was out yesterday, and I started at a young age pursuing entrepreneurship. It's not anything that I had learned at that time. I'm not gonna walk out here. The Cards and Sheets program was out. No down payment, real estate. And to be honest with you, I just graduated from college, and I couldn't find a job in my career field at that time, and I just wanted to do more, become more. And I decided one day, I saw the commercial on Cards and Sheets, and I said, I'm going to order this program, and I'm going to try to pursue it. That's before I knew anything about Robert Kiyosaki or the other real estate programs that's out now. And I did that, and I purchased a home from my hometown. They have a seat in Crystal Springs, actually, Mississippi. And it was my former principal's home, actually, that was up for sale. He and his family had moved on to something bigger and better, and purchased his home and sold it and flipped it, just based off that Cards and Sheets video and education that I had obtained. And so I did that, and I went from that Cards and Sheets program to now seeing a vacant building in my same hometown, Crystal Springs. It used to be a pizza type place. And again, I have my degree in education. Couldn't find a job in the public schools. So I decided to, every time I passed by that building, I saw a youth facility, I saw a daycare. So long story short, a lady came into my parents' life who wanted to be a daycare director, and I had already purchased the building as a athletic and education type tutorial type program, but it wasn't being used on a daily basis, and it wasn't revenue in the income. So I got with my parents. I said, okay, I have the licensure, I have the credentials. Let's try daycare in Crystal Springs. There's no daycare in Crystal Springs. The first black-owned daycare in Crystal Springs at that time. Since then, I think maybe one or two have established themselves. We opened up the daycare. Lord, it's 2018. I think that was, what year was that? I got married, and, oh Lord, I forgot my first anniversary anyway, in 2001, so I've been married 14 years. I don't know, but it was like 2 or 3 years after my marriage, so it had to be around 2003, 2004, so we've been in existence over 10 years, and then a job opportunity came. And I think that was the worst mistake I've ever made in my life. I really do. Because God had me on the path of entrepreneurship then. And the reason, I know a lot of religious or spiritual people would say things like, God will restore the years, He'll redeem the years. That's true. But when the job opportunity came, I cannot say that I took time in prayer and in pursuit of God as if to ask Him, do you want me now to get into the employment line or stay within this entrepreneurship? I cannot say that I took out the time to ask and inquire God that question. And so, yes, God can redeem your years, but I think my decision and my lack of prayer and my lack of maybe mentorship or whatever at that time, or seeking God. You're newly married. You want some things. You want to get your house established. You want to get your income. You want to establish income. You don't want to, really take those risks that entrepreneurship might answer, but entrepreneurship might hold those risks that entrepreneurship can bring about. And so when you're married, you're really just trying to look for comfort and stability. and that's the state I was in, 2 or 3 years into my marriage then, and looking for comfort. But I look back today, I was out, and I'm gonna do some walking while I'm talking. I think I talk because my heart rate is going down anyway from my workout, and so I was out, and I passed by on the interstate this apartment building, and it was a very, very slum apartment building, and the people had what's the name of that rental company? Aaron's. I don't know how to pronounce it. Aaron's or Aaron's. But the blue truck with the puppy on it, whatever, however you pronounce it. The people I saw from the interstate, the people had this truck pulling up in this slum apartment complex, and I was like, wow, these people are renting these equipment and supplies. And I know this is something I think they should be able to just buy outright. And they live in these subpar living conditions, very slum living conditions. And that impact me more than anything. So I really began to ask myself, because I coach basketball, and I do. And basketball came to me. I didn't come to basketball, first of all. It presented itself to me in a job when I was in entrepreneurship. My old coach called me and said, hey, you got this job position. I do recommend for you to. I wasn't thinking about coaching basketball at the time, but I really took the time today to ask myself, because I went to see the Cavaliers play last night, and I saw little kids on the street. We was on Beale Street, and I saw the little kids on Beale Street that were dribbling the basketball, after 10 o'clock at night. And I would think as a basketball coach that would really motivate me and move me to say, oh, look at that child, dribbling the ball. They're so passionate about it. But that didn't move me as much as seeing that rental truck pull up to that slum apartment. It really didn't move me as much as seeing that rental truck pull up at that slum apartment living. And then I didn't sleep well last night, because I asked myself, why did you get into coaching basketball? Do you really like the game that much? You used to play, you played on a college level, it got you a scholarship. But why did you really get into the sport of coaching basketball? And other than it was a job opportunity for comfort and stability, I also like to see young people to have a dream, pursue their dream, and understand the discipline and hard work that it takes for becoming their best. If they want to be champions, and those are the players I connect with, the mindset that I connect with, those who want to be champions, or those who want to play on a high level or elite level, or at least on a competitive level, right? I would not make a good rec coach. Kids are just getting out there for fun and they're learning the beginners. I can tell you now, I would not make a good rec coach. I would have to be around players who have a certain mindset that they wanted to get to. But what pains me, and that's why I'm into basketball, that's why I coach basketball. That's why I do what I do. And basketball has really been a blessing to me. I'm on a trip now that's related to basketball. It allows me to travel. Travel, in my opinion, is the only thing that can keep your mind from becoming too small. It allows me to see other people. It allows me to share a common dream and vision, especially with a young person. But nothing pains me as much as when I receive a text message about, hey, I'm going to, sign up for your financial education. I'm going through this, or we're having a GoFundMe account for this person because, they didn't have burial insurance. Or I see posts from the president of Africa saying that we are fighting for our people to get their land back because it was taken from us so many years ago. and we don't understand the importance or the significance or the power. I just say power. We don't understand the power of home ownership. We don't understand the power of purchasing land and owning land. My grandparents understood that concept, people. My grandparents, who had a 2-bedroom house, who raised their grandchildren. You know, my grandmother, my great-grandparents, I said my grandmother died before I even got to know her. My mother was at the age of 4. My grandparents raised her as their own. So my great-grandparents raised my mother and my uncle as their children, because my grandmother, I never met, their mother died at 4. My grandfather, just a farmer, understood the concept of owning land, and he passed that on to his grandchildren, and it's still a family, within the family legacy today, because I promise you, if we ever get back to the point of, whatever they're going to do with the EBT system and needing our own foods, we're going to have to go back to that, what my great-grandparents established years and years ago that we were trying to fight so hard to get away from. But we really need to go back to purchasing, owning land, and growing and knowing what's in the food that we eat, in health. And I think all of that mentality is of the same mindset. Wealthy people often are healthy people as well. And nothing pains me as much as people who live paycheck to paycheck. Not that it can't happen to me at any time or any moment, any injury, any slip, anything in my health. It can happen to anybody, but at least I won't be on my sick bed. And my prayer to God will not be that, hey, I didn't try to get financially educated to prepare myself in the event that something like this happened. I didn't try to learn about insurance or critical illness insurance riders, or I didn't try to learn about what type of insurance I need. I didn't try to learn about the loopholes that the government have. We all talk about what's going on, especially since Trump is taking office now, and his loopholes and not his loophole, but his decision making. But we don't ever look at the legal loopholes that the government have to people that will take on the task of being business owners while you're still employed. And you might say, well, I don't have a business idea, I don't have a concept. Look, if you have a business idea and a concept, or you want to be debt free, or you just want financial freedom, or you're just tired of living paycheck to paycheck, week to week to month, that you can be educated, learn how to apply those principles, and yet be tapped into a business which positions you to be a business owner. And so, yeah, I think on reflection, I really had to ask myself last night, do you really love coaching basketball, or why are you into it in basketball? And that decision you made years ago to leave out that entrepreneur realm and go into the employee realm, was that really the best decision that you should have made? Because God was opening up doors for you in entrepreneurship, and you made the shift. And so now I'm shifting back, back into entrepreneurship, back into where I first started. I am asking God to restore the years, make the cricket places straight, make up the time that I lost. But that's really a passion to me. I don't want to see our people, especially our people, in these streets, struggling financially. Am I where I want to be financially? No, I'm far from it, because I dream big. I'm not even close to it. But I can tell you some testimonies of things that I've done, that I've positioned myself to eliminate bad debt, and now acquiring debt that gives me a return on my investments. Acquiring debt to give me a return on investment, not to being a consumer, but using other people's money to position myself to make money and to be more financially free. So I'm signing off. I want to get back in the gym. I have to do some weight training program. You all have a happy Saturday. Like and share this video. I appreciate you all for joining in. And have a good day today. Miss Coach Deloach.